Hey guys, I'm Alyse.
And I'm John.
And we are the Heart of Austin Homes team.
We've got another Hot or Not.
We do.
For July.
Telling you about what's going on with the Austin market for this past month that just ended.
I know, and it's just like every month I kind of sigh at the beginning of these things because I'm like, oh, it's another crazy month. Well, it's been another crazy month.
Well, at least this crazy month is somewhat commensurate with last crazy month, so I don't feel like we're doing a whole new, it's a whole new crazy every month, you know.
Kind of. It's like that bad girlfriend, you know, it was like a little crazy.
Whole new crazy every month.
Right, and you're like, well, she's kind of fun, but still a little crazy. I'm sorry, that was probably like super sexist. Someone's going to get mad at me in the comments. Go ahead, mad at me.
John loves women.
I was just trying to make a
He
joke.
thinks women are
Okay, now that I've made my faux pas, let's get on to the stats.
Perfect.
Okay, so July 2020.
We're going to talk about Austin first, and then we'll talk about South Austin. We like South Austin extra lots. I mean, we work all the Austin, but we like South Austin.
So that's south of 71, west of 35.
Yeah. So let's look at this.
Okay.
There were 1,378 homes that were active, available to be sold
in July.
of
which
this
is a
year.
very tiny number.
Yeah.
And you figure Austin's got over 1 million people, depending on where you draw the boundary.
Get this.
Like 1 in 1,000.
That is down almost 43%, 42.6%
From
last year.
From last year. Well, that kind of makes sense because
People
last
are
year...
just scared to put their house on the market right now, even though prices are going up, even though houses are selling fast. It's kind of bizarre. I mean, kind of understandable on a psychological level, but not on a statistics level.
All right, so what were we at last year?
Last year, we were at 2,400.
Right, which is still a low number, in my opinion.
Yeah,
right?
definitely.
And so now we're at like half of that. And so that's mostly from COVID fear. People
Especially
don't want to sell their houses because they're like,
since last year 1,200 was normal monthly burn, and so that was only 2 months of inventory as of last July.
Yeah.
But get this: the month before, June of 2020, we were at 1,424. We are down
a little bit,
3.25%
going into the summer,
just in 1 month.
Yeah.
Of our available things. But get this. Now let's go on to solds.
Yeah, okay, we're still just in the Austin column.
Yeah, we're still just talking about Austin in general. So Austin, number of solds for the month of July 2020.
1,315.
Okay.
Which is, just right at the active, so...
It's pretty much a month of inventory.
Maybe a month,
right?
yeah.
Because inventory is, if everything that is currently available continued to sell at the rate that it's selling per month, how long would it take to sell it out, right? And this is almost that much of that. So we're just slightly over 1 month of inventory.
Which is, it's been like between a month and a half, so it's still like crazy low. So this is pushing prices up, of course. Okay, so what did they do to the price?
Okay, so year over year, though, this is up 8.59%. So
our solds are increasing.
Our solds are increasing. We're up, a little under 9%.
And inventory is going down.
And solds from last year. Right. This is down almost 43%. Yeah. So the number of houses available is down 43%. Yeah. The number of houses sold is up almost 9%.
Yes, that means we're consuming inventory, right? So 10 are going on, and then like 11 or 12 are being bought.
And by the way,
total inventory is shrinking, which matches the actives is why it's gone down so much.
Yeah,
crazy. So more people are buying, less people are selling.
I wonder what that does to median price.
This is so boring because every month it's the same story. Which way did prices go in Austin?
Yeah.
And the answer is up.
We are at 470,000 median price.
I remember it broke 400,000 just last year.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, what was it last year?
It was 425.
Wow.
Last year for July. So
That's almost
up
50K.
Yeah. It's up 10.5% in 1 year for all of Austin. Just in the last month between June and July, because there was a little dip right when nobody was buying because of COVID.
Yep.
Because we weren't even allowed to show houses for a short bit there.
Right. So it tightened everything up.
Yeah, exactly. So there was a tiny bit of a dip. So it's shooting way back up, and we're basically having spring now.
Yeah.
But it's up 2.5%
month over month
from June to July.
Okay, so prices keep going up, and then so I'm going to talk a little bit about where I think this will go in the long term when we get done with South Austin. Right?
Yeah,
so stick around for that.
So we have some kind of bigger numbers of what's going on related to the larger world.
Okay, well, so Austin's nuts. How's South Austin?
South Austin. Well, let's do me.
Okay.
We're at 158 homes available to sale.
158 tiny little homes. You could almost count them on your hands.
Well, you have a lot of fingers.
Well, you get 15 people in a room and you can count all the houses for sale.
If you use toes, it would only take 7.5 people.
Right. Yeah, I mean, practically there's enough fingers and toes in this house to count all of the homes for sale.
We do have a lot of people in
South
house.
Austin, especially if you include the animals.
Somebody brought me over cookies the other day on his birthday. Oh my gosh, thank you so much. And he's like, I think I needed to bring you more cookies. There was a whole herd of people in there. And I was like, yeah, that's my house.
Okay, so 158. What were we at last year?
Last year, we were at 419.
Oh my God.
We're down 62%
That's
in
like
number of homes available for
almost
sale in South Austin.
triple, right? Right, so
Sorry.
419, well, 3 times would be about 450, but
Yeah.
almost 3 times as many last year. Wow.
And even just month over month, that was just slightly higher at 160. It dropped to 158.
Okay, so
Tiny
about
bit
the
down.
same.
Yeah.
Right, okay, well, so, the crazy is consistent.
Sure.
All right.
Sure. And then looking at number of sales, we're at 295.
Okay, which notice is way above the inventory. So consuming inventory still, that number's going down and down, which is why we went from
half a month.
400
Yeah.
down to 158 because this number's always higher.
Half.
Yeah.
Half of the available, half are available to sell of what people want to
Means
buy
you've
per
got
month.
2 weeks of
A month.
inventory.
Yeah, 2 weeks of inventory.
That's crazy.
So anybody who was thinking about selling and then
Yeah.
was all like, no, I can't do that right now.
Well, then you got to go buy. So if you're leaving town, that's great.
Especially if you're leaving South Austin.
Right.
So that is down, up 17% from last year.
Okay.
And up 26.6% from June.
From last month.
Yeah.
Wow. So what was last month?
Last month probably was down because there wasn't
233.
inventory.
Yeah.
Anyway. And then let's move on. What is that going to do to our median sales price?
Yeah. Only one direction it can go.
Yeah. So
We're at 410 now, right, for South Austin. What was last year?
356.
356. Like we've broken 400.
We've gone
in
up
South Austin.
15% in median home price
In a month?
in a year.
In a year. Okay.
In a month, we've gone up 3.6%.
Okay. I was going to say.
3.6%
Nothing surprises me anymore, so I almost would have believed that.
Would be a manageable, reasonable amount for
For a yearly increase.
A year
Right.
appreciation would be 3.6.
Right.
So 3.6 in a month is a thing.
Yeah.
It's kind of a thing.
So what doesn't make any sense about all this is like you've got COVID, you've got the crisis, and it's like, well, and you've got this economic crash, and then the stock market has gone back up. Everything is uncertain right now. Everyone's panicky, but prices are going up and up and up. It's like, well, how does that happen, right?
Yeah.
Well, so the first thing, the massive indicator is simply inventory, right? So because everyone kind of freaked out and decided not to sell their homes, that shrunk inventory. And this is not happening just in Austin, it's happening nationwide. And so when you've got less inventory, there's less to buy. People still like Austin, people still need to buy. So the buyers that are out there are having to fight over those, and it's pushing prices up.
Rates are being kept artificially low.
Yep.
And so, you can get a loan right now for, there's somebody who's advertising a 1.99%.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Wow.
I mean, most of the ones I'm seeing are really
Like
more in
high
the
twos, low threes.
2.25 to, like 3.25,
Yep.
which is,
Depending
by the
on
way, insanely low.
Super cheap money.
Yeah.
Now,
And they're not quite giving it to you, but it's close.
right, so the question we get a lot is like, when is the housing crash going to come, right? Because they feel like, okay, well, there's like 30% of people are making their payments. You've seen that stat out there. Like, when is this going to come home to roost? Well, right now we've got a lot of deferments going on, and a lot of banks are saying that, 1 in 3 people aren't making their payments or they have deferred them.
And deferments mean you've made some sort of arrangement with your bank to not make payments right now.
Yeah.
And there are a variety of ways that this can be done and worked out and such. So, but that's what a deferment is.
Yep. And you've got unemployment is at crazy high levels. And then we just got the report that the GDP dropped by like 39%. So how is this possible?
Annualized based off of
Right.
second
That's not
quarter.
in 1 year.
Yeah.
So that 33% drop, you got to take that with a little bit of grain of salt. Do your stats from college. That means that if we had the same quarter last year, that we continue to have that sort of performance, it would be 33% annualized.
Yeah,
so it's not like a 33% drop in 1 quarter.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So that's a projected number based off of the change.
So with all of this, how
quarter.
can housing prices still be high? Well, we talked about inventory, but it's like that, rooster's got to come home to roost, the cow's got to come back to the barn, some farm metaphor.
There's a farm metaphor involved
that like
in this.
a shoe is dropping, something is going to happen, right? So there's really kind of 2 forces at play here that I see. Like one, when does all of this stuff come up? When do those deferments end? When do people have to make their payments and the bank goes, nope, if you don't make your payment, I've got to foreclose on your home now. And so all that's going to come around probably spring of 2021 because it'll be after the election. And so now it's a race to see what happens first. Does the economy kind of come back to life and resume itself by that time? And of course, the virus is a factor in all this as to whether or not people feel safe to come out. Or do the banks force people to make their payments before they have got their jobs back, before the economy recovers? Now, spring is a pretty tight timeline, right? So that train is like heading down the tracks.
Sure.
So at that point, people thinking like, well, maybe all this stressed inventory is going to show up. And if it does, and it could happen quickly, right? You could have, boom, this big chunk of inventory show up, which would drop prices. Now, that can only happen if people don't make their payments. So we've got to figure out which one of those is going to happen first. Economic recovery.
Or if they don't manage to sell, like a lot of people are saying like, hey, I'm not sure my job is going to come back by the spring. I'm going to go ahead and get sold now so that I don't have to face that hard
which is
conversation.
not a bad strategy.
Because with Tesla building a new factory here, Amazon opening a new shipping placement here, everybody who previously was tied to a work and their work has said, we've gone indefinitely work from home, they're going, I've always wanted to move to Austin. I've literally gotten like 3 calls like that in the last week or two.
Well, keep in mind that those new jobs, like even the Amazon plant and the Tesla plant, those are in-person jobs, right? Like now that'll create support jobs too, but you've got to go to a location to do those.
But they're a physical, manual, involved labor situation, And
so the other side of the coin is that, we've been doing a bunch of printing. When I say we, I mean the U.S. government. We've been just like throwing money at everything. We've been handing out checks and printing money, and the Fed's has been making more and more cash. Right? And so all that is going into equities, which is causing the stock market to rise because that money has nowhere else to go. So the stock market's kind of artificially inflated. So to me, inflation is going to have to show up at some point. Right? And even with interest rates staying low, if inflation shows up, well, then property values and stocks will do well because they are inflation protected and they're inflation hedged. So
real estate is
not like
one
you
of the better investments for real estate protection.
You can't point at one thing and say like, oh, COVID, there's going to be a housing crash, or oh, it's low inventory, like prices are going to be fine, or oh, we're printing, then prices are going to go up. Like all of these factors come into play, and a lot of it's just going to be timing and a matter of, hey, what's the magnitude of it going to be, and when is the timing going to show up? I think prices will stay high through the end of this year, through the elections and all that stuff. Of course, I could be wrong. That's just my feeling based on what I'm seeing. But to me, in like next spring is really where the rubber's going to hit the road. And then I think inflationary pressure in the long term will eventually catch up. So as I always say, real estate is a long-term game. So if you buy it and hold it for 10 years, you're fine, right? Buy it with a 10-year plan, you're okay. But if you're going to try and get in and out in a year or two, or be opportunistic, okay, keep some cash on the side and look for that special buy next year maybe. But if you can hold it for 10 years, you're just going to ride the wave out anyway.
Yeah, definitely.
So that was a bit long-winded.
Speculative real estate buying right now is probably not ideal, but purchasing for your home, which you plan to live for a while, is still, in the long run, Austin is a desired market. And people will always need a place to live. So, if you keep a broader perspective on it, then, appreciation tends to
in the long run
always go up in the long run.
Austin will be fine, but like in the short term, we're going to see some turbulence, I think, for sure.
Also, if you're thinking about selling, we need you. The Austin market needs you.
It does. You'll probably do pretty well.
However, if you're then trying to buy in the Austin market, let's talk, because that takes a little bit of a tap dance. But we have a whole video about that. I'm just letting you know.
And Lauren, thanks so much for reaching out to us, and this one is for you. So I hope you like this market update from Orange County, California.
Thank you guys so much for watching. I know we were a bit long-winded today, but there was some really important things.
There's a lot to talk about.
Yeah, definitely. And we'll see you guys soon. Oh, hey, if you know anybody who's thinking about moving either way, we'd love to help. Let us know. This is what we do. We help people.
Yep, and we'll see you on the next update. It's probably going to be another crazy month in August. We'll let you know.
We'll let you know. Bye, guys.
All right. Go push the button.